All right, welcome to the AI Groups meeting time. We've got a great, I feel like saying a great show for you today because we've got Tim is coming. Yeah. Tim's coming. AIM is his, I'll let him explain his business called AIM. And he's a deep thinker. I think of him as like our AI philosopher here. And we all, whether we admit it or not, I'm sure have had lots of thoughts about like, okay, we're excited about AI and all that it can do, but oh, maybe it can do too much, or, are there enough guardrails on it? And like, well, the people in this group are doing real positive things, but there's the whole rest of the world. So we've got Tim here to calm and reassure us, but think deeply about some of these topics. So Tim, take it away.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll just first give a short introduction about myself. So my name is Tim Goertz. I'm from the Netherlands. Educated as an electrical engineer. That's my background. So I have been practicing like databases and electrical engineering, all of that stuff. I really wasn't in tune with that vision upon the world, so I kind of disconnected from that one. And in this session specifically, I'm going to talk a little bit about the AI, what I perceive the future of AI will go to. It will be very free-flowing, but it also, like you mentioned, Nicole, already a little bit about, is AI actually taking up our jobs? Is that something that we fear? Is that something that we need to put guardrails upon? What does it mean? How do we deal with that kind of stuff? And the invitation that I have to all of you is to actually listen to insights based on the storyline that I give, comparison to if it's right or wrong in a certain way. Like I'm free flowing, I'm sharing my ideas, what I see happening. So that's a little bit the container of this. Nicole also mentioned my company. The company name is called AIM. So AIIM, Action, Information and Insight Management, with the goal to externalize your thoughts, your ideas, your vision in an externalized system. So you can externalize your logical thinking, so you can be fully present in the here and the now. And tuning into that present. So it's I started off as a productivity journey coach, stuff like that. And it kind of grew into mindfulness productivity, to really find that rest out of this busy lifestyle and find that peace within. Because freedom is the end result, or at least I think it's the wish that every one of us is experiencing, wanting to have. And within the AIM company, I also like process childhood traumas, memories, and all of that stuff to really uncover all of those layers for yourself. So now AI. AI came up almost 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago. And the trick thing is, it starts off with actually the word AI, artificial intelligence. It is not actually an AI. It's very important to actually notice. It's not actually an AI. It is an LLM. It is a large language model. It predicts the next word comparison to the previous word, comparison to the previous storyline that it knows. So it's not actually thinking. It seems like it's thinking. You can actually have a conversation with it. You can ask it questions, to ask it to reframe certain storylines or to integrate a certain thing, but it's not actually intelligence, and it's not even conscious. Some people have that idea is conscious, and then we get into a whole philosophical idea of what is consciousness exactly, which is a fun thing, and Michael perhaps has some ideas and thoughts upon that one as well. And it's like we kind of need to think about what exactly is intelligence. Because in a certain way, what we as humanities or as humans are, we're not only intelligence, we're also that emotional layer, that experiential, that body and that feelings and that that state. And the AI, the large language model, LLM, is not the emotional layer. So it cannot feel, it doesn't have any moral compass at a certain way. For us, it's even impossible to actually give the AI a moral compass. And they've tried that with open source AI now, with actually giving it a certain set of boundaries, as in this is what you can say and this is what you can't say, because in a certain level, because it's not accepted as what we call humanity. And the idea is to just use it as a large language model. So use it to accelerate your own impact to your own personal growth. So that means if you have some trouble with actually writing down a comment or a text to a client or to a boss or to someone else, actually use the ChatGPT, the AI, to put down all of your thoughts that you have, all of your annoyance, all of your struggles, and then ask it, yeah, I want to name this to someone else, but I don't want to be sounding offensive to that person. So use the non-violent communication with it. Because the AI, large language model, still need to get used to that difference. It's important to see it like this. The large language model misses context. And us as humans, as our skill to remember the past and the future, we can create that context for the AI. And the AI itself doesn't really have any context. So it's very good at organizing all of that stuff and making logic out of it. But the context is something that you need to give in. And quite often in like the sessions that I do is it starts off with personal growth. As in, are you actually like focused? Like, are you able to communicate with the ChatGPT? Are you able to type quickly? Like, feel free to type it in and to express your own thoughts so it will summarize it for you. And then you can start using that. But your skill on how fast you can communicate with it, there's a massive gain there. So like when people are searching for prompts, as in how do you communicate with this, like what kind of prompts do you use? I'm like, I don't use any prompts. I just talk to it. Like it's my sparringspartner in a certain way. That's the only thing that's constantly open. It's like that's the starting point. It's not really true because I have my personal acknowledgement system, but it is my sparringspartner. So that's kind of the framework behind it. So is it taking jobs? Well, I'm not afraid of it whatsoever. I'm not even afraid of it taking over anything. The only thing that I'm a little bit afraid of, so that's why these conversations are so powerful, is our fear of it taking over our jobs. So that fear response is the biggest challenge. You saw that maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, as well as in the immigration politics, as in, oh, they are taking our jobs. Well, no, like there's development because of it. Jobs will change because of that. Like a job means adding value upon the marketplace. Like I am now so much more skilled to add value upon the marketplace because of the AI revolution, comparison to so many more people. They're adding more value upon the growth of humanity, the quality of humanity, like living. And that's a really important one, as in it's not actually taking over anything, or at least that's not how I see it. So that's my vision upon that one. Second one is it's not an AI, but it's large language model. So that reduces the stress as well. It's just a language model, it just predicts the next word. Please use it like that as well. As in, if you're writing something, it could be a business idea or a summary of something. Check that. It's not actually artificial, but it's a language model. So actually check that knowledge that you have been given. So that's a very, very broad one, big one. And then the third one that I kind of wanted to address is personal growth. Like use the AI as a specific tool to enhance your own specific growth or your own personal growth. If you're struggling with something, like go to ChatGPT, say, hey, you're my coach and you're going to give me feedback. I'm struggling with this, with this, with this. What kind of tips can you give me? And it will give you some options. Maybe you like them, maybe you won't. And if you don't like them, tell that to the AI. Like, no, I really don't like this happy, fluffy feeling. Like, be realistic. Be like, what can I actually do? Like, what's the first little step? I'm ashamed of actually. Sometimes the AI gives you advice, and you're like, that's too big of a step. Like, make it simpler. Make it simpler. Make it simpler. Feel free to use that, the AI for that. Like what I'm seeing, what a lot of people are doing, maybe also in the communities that I'm in actively now, but they're using it for visual creations, which is so very powerful. I'm doing that too as well, but that's not truly the power. At this moment, got no idea if you guys know that how the definition IQ is created. The definition of the IQ is basically how smart are people comparison to other smart people. That's like the comparison is a very important thing. It's not something that you can. Right now, people are smarter comparison to 50 years ago. That is true, but it's not actually visible in that IQ distribution sequence. And so what you do is an IQ of 100, that's the medium of all of humanity. So the most people are actually at an IQ of 100. And if you're at 120, then you're in the 80 percentile. I don't know exactly how they mention that, as in then you're smarter comparison to most other people. So even if you're 101, then you're smarter comparison to most people on the planet. So that's a very interesting one to know. And at this moment, I don't know what it is exactly, but the ChatGPT 4 is now at an IQ of 160 or something like that. And it is smarter than 99.9% of the people, something like that, without the context, but just the measure of the IQ, so the intelligence. And the intelligence are just facts, data. If I ask you the question, do you actually understand the question? And can you answer it? That is the IQ level. And what I see the AI moving towards, that will be the second idea concept company that I'm working on, is something called the I2 EQ. So the intelligence coefficient to the emotional coefficient. Now that the AI is growing and growing and growing and getting better in actually having an intellect, it's not a consciousness, but just an intellect, we can reduce our value of we as humanity are smart or not, but we think that we are. Like we can externalize that thought into something else. So it's not really think for us, but it can reduce it's not reduce our thoughts, but it is we don't need to practice so much logic anymore comparison to what we did in the past. As in we need to be smart and we need to remember stuff and we need to be like, I don't know, like the intellect. Quite often we connect that intellect to our value. That's how the whole educational systems have been built at this moment. I'll give you in a second. And within that I2EQ company brand idea is to make that shift from connecting from that intellect into our emotional state, as in truly going within that power, within that intuition power, within that even manifestation power, like actually tuning into the vibrational power that we have within our consciousness, and then being able to create the world based on that. Michael, you had your hands. Hi.
No, it's funny. You just tapped on what I was about to say, especially about the manifestation part of it, because that's how we are unique than ChatGPT or any AI module. But I wanted to tap on something else as well. When the computers came out, it was the first thing it solved was storage, storage of a huge amount of information in a small thing. What I find AI is doing now is amazing, which is it's another thing that we always do not accept in the beginning, but after that we find that it's actually a tool to be used. So AI is using all that knowledge that is on all the computers, all the servers, all and putting an end result to a solution or end result to a problem that was presented. So, or like putting solutions, not only one solution, but again, we're still unique because we can manifest, we have the emotion. These are not in a machine. I just wanted to share that one. And another thing I just did before, and I wanted to share, might be an idea or a tip. On ChatGPT, where you can build your own bot, so I fed it in my human design, and I fed it in a few other information on myself, like Enneagram, the type of personality, the disc, and a disc, and all of that just on Michael. And I created a bot just for me where I would talk to it. And especially now you can do it with a voice where you would do things and find what do you think about that from my personality or from it could be from different angles and so on. And you get insights that is of course not emotional, but from an intelligent point of view. Just wanted to share it.
So yeah, that's a really amazing point. Yeah. Yeah, and the trick thing is, like we are unique as in our skills of manifestation and intuition. Like the idea beneath that, that's something that Sadhguru often talks about as well, as in we're not our body, and we're not even our mind. We're that thing that observes our body and observes our thoughts. And based on my knowledge, on my research, I would say that emotional state, what exactly is that emotional state itself? In a certain way, it is the observation of your spirit, however we want to call it, like the spirit that is something underneath that's observing the vibration of the body itself. And the more higher that you are with your vibrational state, the more positive emotions that you will perceive. And that is based on the map of consciousness idea of if you're feeling stress and angerness and depression, then you're in that lower state of vibration. And that actually means that your cells, your physical cells, are moving slower comparison to that state when you're feeling that love and that enjoyment. And our consciousness, or our what we call then consciousness, I think, is that idea of us observing our own vibration in our body. And when we choose to focus ourselves on the things that are good, what we call good, so like pro-life in a certain way, like choosing to live, then we can change our physical body, our vibration in our body, which also changes the physical surroundings outside of us. And that's kind of connected to that idea of metaphysics and talking positively to a plant, which makes it actually grow bigger comparison to talking negatively or hateful to a plant that will actually make it die. And that's such an within the true story, like in my personal life, I had a house where it's very negatively charged, and I saw that in the plants. I just now realized it because I was in that state back then. but it's that level of mastering even the metaphysics beneath all of this. And that is kind of the consciousness. So we're kind of like on that sidetrack of why I'm not afraid of an AI, because it's a large language model and it doesn't have that level of understanding. And the challenge thing is, as that we are currently growing in our AI capabilities, we are reducing our need to be intelligence. And we're truly focused as in like tuning into yourself, as in, hey, what am I feeling? And that makes you healthier, happier, like more impactful. Like I had a meeting yesterday and she was like, you're just beaming. You're beaming from that place. Well, everyone can be in that state if we don't focus too much on identifying ourselves with the intellect and truly tune into like what's going on here. So that's kind of the underlying thing. And a very powerful one as well, as in within my coaching and courses and videos and stuff like that, the focus is mindful productivity. So it's not productivity to have more and more output, to deliver more for more money or more idea. Because to be honest, that doesn't really matter that much. It is more about you being in tune with yourself and then really doing the stuff that you love constantly and make everything align towards that goal, if that makes sense. So, small question, does anyone have any specific questions or ideas or comments? Good. Yeah, so I don't know, what else shall I talk about? Yeah, what I noticed, so that idea of I to EQ is externalizing your thoughts in external systems so you can be fully present in the here and the now. Quite often we still need that externalized system in a decent, understandable way. To be honest, we've been doing this for the last 15 years already, 20 years with social media. We have been externalizing our thoughts, our happy emotions in public, like in Facebook and Instagram, in Twitch, in everything. And even the darker sides, we've also started publicizing the darker sides. There are some websites regarding Reddit and some other stuff where people truly talk about their deeper emotional layers. And they have been kind of using it to externalize their thoughts, to process their own traumas. And that's such a powerful one to lean into. So whenever, quite often in the mental health, people mention as in, yeah, just write stuff down in your diary. Which is true, but it is that layer over layer over layer, because it's not just like me writing stuff down on a piece of paper, but it's me like venting myself in a certain system that I can grow from tomorrow and next week and the month before against that. So in a certain way, we all kind of need a personal acknowledgement system, as in a system where we can externalize our thoughts, our fears, aggression, our needs, our desires in that certain space, to be able to look at it from a third person perspective. And you can use the AI to crystallize your thoughts, because many of us are not actually properly skilled to do that level yet. But if you can actually like talk to your AI and have that conversation with it and ask the AI as in, yeah, could you please make me a summary of this so I can place that in my database, then it will make a summary out of it. However messy your story originally was, because many of us are still very messy in our storytelling. And it's yeah, in a certain way, it's yeah, integrating, it's reviewing your own thoughts. Yeah, it's reviewing your own thoughts in a certain way that you're not even your own thoughts. You start recognizing if you're writing stuff down, you're like, this is stuff that Jordan Peterson said. This is stuff that Neil Donald Walsh said. This is stuff that he said. You're a summary of all of the thoughts, all of the ideas that you've gathered in your life into the one. And then what we often do in our ego is identifying ourselves with all of those ideas that we have and then calling that the Tim and the like, I'm that. This is my personality, or this is my label. Could be ADHD, that could be an introvert, that could be an extrovert, that all of those different sets. And it's about even being an observer of your own behavior without having that judgment of you showing that behavior. However negative they might be, or however shameful that you might feel about that. But observing that for yourself and accepting that part and processing that. And that's where the AI will massively benefit us to clarify our thoughts. So that starts with a little bit of an intellectual journey, and it will slowly guide people into finding their true version of them, like a true version of them. Like the people that I see, like now with coaching and with other stuff, I see when someone is speaking their own true version of them, or when they're like copying someone else's storyline. Nicole, good doing it here.
Thanks, Tim. So a couple of thoughts and questions. So the first one is with your coaching, do you see with the advent of AI, and thank you for clarifying what AI actually is and is not, do you see more people coming, feeling more confused, disassociated, scared? Well, you know, like this is kind of an add-on sort of thing, or is your
And then
client
because of AI, you mean, because of the rise of AI?
because of AI? Yeah. Do you see a difference or more people, or
I haven't been coaching that long to actually see that. It's been like a year now actively. So I don't know what kind of journey. To be honest, I don't really expect it to be, because most people here that I speak barely understand AI in general. So I don't think so. The only thing that is triggering them is the fear of the AI taking away our jobs, because that's the propaganda that's often been used in the media, because like fear is their most potent weapon. And it's very important to see when someone is promoting fear that you're choosing yourself as an, okay, but is this really fear, or is that their fear? Is that something that belongs to me? So it kind of depends.
Right. That's great. Yeah, and you kind of alluded to previous disruptions that we've had. So I see that there's been like 4 that everybody was afraid of. You know, there was TV. Everybody thought that was going to ruin everything. And like all of these disruptions, TV has its good and its bad side, which is how we manage it and use it. And then there was the smartphone and social media. A lot of people don't realize the effect of the smartphone, but they're really finding that the rise in anxiety and depression has really gone up since the advent of the smartphone. And I treat people with tech neck issues, not. So it's like everything has its positive and its negative. And then just AI is kind of again, one of those disruptions that, you know, maybe you could say is on steroids. It's a little bit more happening, but yeah. So yeah, I just at coaching, I've just seen it sort of as a continuum. So some people have that, and other people are just like, I don't like it. I'm, you know, just like they don't want to think about it, so they haven't gotten to that part where they need help.
And the tricky thing is, what I often use in my coaching is to deal with stuff emotionally. instead of logically. Like, what's going on? Okay, let's go underneath that. What are you feeling? Okay, what's underneath that feeling? And really tuning into their being, as in not their intellect, not their logic, but in that state. And then, like, even TikTok addictions could be from a place of addiction or fear, or like what's that underlying emotion that is withholding you from that growth? Because everyone has that best intentions underneath it. We're just so brainwashed, seriously brainwashed propaganda from especially the Western world, but that's the one that I know. But there's so much layers. Yes.
Sorry, so I'll chime in with a couple comments here. So just add to Nichols first. I kind of see this the same as the computer and the internet, right? AI is pretty much, I don't know if there's a study done on what it's copying, but in my mind, you can learn a lot of where AI is going to go from by just seeing how the internet changed things and how computer changed things and how it's part of, yes, a computer can do math 10 times faster than a human, but it's really here to just work with us, not to take over. And I think, as Tim alluded earlier, the landscape will change. Like, everything is going to change, and you're just going to need to adopt it, or you're going to be left behind. Like, it's that simple. The jobs now, most tech jobs, including what we're doing here, didn't exist 30 years ago, right? And I think, Tim, I like the other comment I was gonna make, because I liked your point on the fact that you're talking about articulating a lot better. And I found, for me, AI, that's been one of the biggest use. Because like you, I'm not the best storyteller, or I may not articulate things the best, but I find that it's awesome. Like, I've never written a sales copy in 20 years, but I've actually written a sales copy now with the help of AI. So the way I feel is it's like having 1,000 of the best sales copywriters in your pocket, and you feed it the ideas, you give it all the information, and it will put out a sales copy for you. That is much more than anything I could have probably written in 1,000 years, because that's not my skill set. So I do feel that you're 100% right. It's like having a lot of experts right in your pocket, if you're using the AI properly. So I think that's cool. It's cool because I never really thought about that, but I think that's definitely, like, before I write emails, before I write anything, I just get in there, rewrites, and takes my thoughts and just says it 1,000 times better. So
Yes.
so I think that's definitely a really good use. And it's funny because I've never thought of that as being the real use of AI, but maybe it is, right? So
Yeah, and what's the underlying one? No, I don't remember. I don't know.
yeah. But yeah, I just thought it was something I did, but I didn't really think that rewriting. Like, I even have a conversation just for rewriting stuff, right? That I use on emails. I use on a lot of different things. So I thought that was just my own thing, but that's interesting to see that that's something. Who else? I don't know if anyone else here does that as well. I'd be curious.
Yeah,
I use it for emails, for sure.
and the trick thing is as well, what I noticed sometimes when I was typing something into ChatGPT and it spit up something else, I'm like, indeed, that is a way that you can view my text. So it
That's
gave me
cool.
live feedback, as in, like, does the computer actually understand what I try to say? Because another human can actually mistake that communication line. So it's
That's
improving our
awesome.
communication.
Yeah.
I agree. I did. Yeah. When I'm doing an email, I now think, like, okay, it makes me kind of think at a new level of just like, okay, how it's going to be interpreted. What do I need to make sure I include so it doesn't leave something out? So it helps me both think in that way, but then also if I have to write an email, it's in the middle of the night and it's like, okay, I'm just so tired. I can do stream of consciousness, plug in an old email and say, do it like this one, include the emojis, and it's just amazing. I don't have to think. So. But that's because the thinking was done beforehand.
Yeah, and you created that context, and
Yeah.
it will just create that summary, sentences, spelling, and all of that stuff. And especially if, like, let's imagine that English is not your first language. Me. But even if I'm relatively skilled in English language comparison to most other people who don't speak English first language, but like, imagine the skill and just typing it out in your native language and then translate it into English, and you kind of understand English well enough to organize it, how powerful the biggest idea of the biggest power of AI is a certain way connection, making connections better, communicating my storyline better with yours, but also my own storyline with my own storyline. Like, is this actually what I'm feeling? Like tuning in, like go through your diaries, as in, what was I actually saying? Like, it's so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, along those lines, I was years ago teaching a week-long course on the chakras in Italy, and I had a translator there. And because some people didn't speak English at all. And then there was this one woman that wanted to have a conversation with me, and this was quite a few years ago. And that's when Google Translate was in its infancy. And we would do this kind of, it was super slow, back and forth. I'd have to copy and paste what she said and put it in there. And I'm sure there's a way to like be on the same page, so to speak, and speed all of that up for translation.
I recently heard something. I don't know how much. I didn't really see a test case upon that. Like, if someone in here or later on has a specific test case, I love to like try it out live and stream it on my YouTube, because that's the most fun part. I know that they're doing live conversations right now, and there's an AI between them, so they live translate the message. It's unbelievable.
It really is.
So that, yeah, and like I mentioned, I do talk about this specific one quite a lot on my YouTube channel. So there's a lot of like free value there, like 300 videos now, like massive. With also like really the basics, like how to organize your calendar, like how to organize your mail to zero, like, because a lot of us are promoting that step 100, and we also need to promote that step 2, or step 2 at least. We need to explain that for free for a lot of as many as people as possible, because then like my quality becomes better if we do that, like my personal quality, and all of us are one anyway. So
Can you share the link of that and make sure, Nicole, that's included with the notes?
yeah. My socials are Tim WN Tim GWN Tim 92. But I will send it later on, and having that available, because you can find me there on Instagram, on YouTube, and my full name on the website, timgoerts.com. Because I'm just here to share value as much as I can based on the knowledge that I have with the social media platforms. Like, let's grow. It's not about, I mentioned that 2 or 3 weeks ago here as well. It's not about content creation, but it's about value creation. Multiplying yourself so often that you're helping those who are in a similar journey as you are, and that they can learn what you haven't learned or what you didn't know 10 years ago. That's the stuff that you need to talk about and promote and share. And that's so valuable if we start doing that, all of us.
Something I think about.
Oh, go ahead, McCall, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. That was great.
So something I think about, which I don't know if you have any insight on, is like content creation is going to 10x over the next couple of years, just because of how easy it's becoming with AI. So how do you stick out from the noise with all the new content that's being created, right? So I feel like with the internet, things are more like, I read this where I think there's more, let's say, I think there was more content in, what was it? I don't remember what it was, but we absorb so
Much
much
more.
content, and with the internet, it's gone like 10 or 20x. With AI, it's going to even expedite quite a bit more. Like, you have so much more blog posts, you have so more YouTube videos, so much more with AI creation. So how, like, it's like I think about it, I don't have a solution to this, but how do you stick out more? Like, my only solution is the more you put into AI, the more you'll get out. But I don't know. That's just something I think of. I don't know if you guys have any insight on that.
It starts within like the personal acknowledgement system. Like, first start with the basics, as in, where are you right now and what do you need most right now? Like health, okay, great. health is the most important thing. Find those teachers in health that will teach you to improve the quality of your life. And really only focus on that and unfollow the rest of them. Noise, like be very strict, noise, get off of it. And only following those tutors, those publishers who are making you feel better. And it could be what I personally had, as in Jordan Peterson really helped me to get over my depression. But right now I'm not following him anymore because he's making me feel worse right now in comparison to the state that I'm in. And like I had the same thing with Andrew Tate. It's a very controversial topic in most circles here, but it's like he really helped me to get over that fear, because at that moment he made me feel better to tune into that pride and that angerness. And later on, if an author is making you worse, then unfollow him and follow the one that is making you feel better. So do that with like the health, with the intelligence, with all of the different categories. But it's the focus on personal growth. It's not about, so the question is, how do you deal with overwhelm? Basically, how to manage it.
So my question is more on how do you stick out, like, I guess, with the substantial amount of increase in content. And I read 12 Rules recently as well. I found it was very graphical in how he explained things. The rules are great, but it was very religious, parenting, like it was very graphical in that with Jordan Peterson. But my question was, how do you stick out when so much more content is being created?
It's a certain way. The goal is not to stick out or to be most popular. It's not a popularity game. It's about you helping those 5 people with their journey so massively that they are the true fans and their growth is your growth. And it's like, because the idea of we needing to stick out creates a competition of we having to compete against each other. To be honest, like I love to help you guys with all of the growth and all of the potential, just with the idea of to make your package, your value, more accessible for those who need it. That's the main focus. And how you do that? Well, to market yourself, to make a great content, to make it like marketing, sales, and all of that. But the focus is to make high quality content for the correct people. If that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I would add to that it's in my mind, especially just seeing how, as we use ChatGPT and other LLMs and so forth, we can recognize when people are just copying and pasting it, and that will happen more and more. So I think the more that we are really the ones who take the time to do things like Tim's saying, really know who we are, who we are, but also our branding. It's like learning how your branding and your company voice, so that we use the AI to be more efficient with the skills so in other words, I don't think it's going to take away those skills, the knowledge, and our experiences. And so we have to use it in a way that we still are using our mind, let it help us be more organized, more efficient in what we do, polish things. But at the essence, if we can bring that out, people are going to be seeking out authenticity. So people are, I think in the most recent time and currently, people have been really seeking community and connection. That's going to continue, community and connection. And now what people are going to, the next wave, I predict, is authenticity. I mean, they're already looking for that anyway. So the more we can be that authentic voice amongst all of the more generic voices, it's going to be like maybe very slick voices. It's kind of like commercials. Commercials that used to work in the 50s and 60s, we all kind of laugh at now. They had to be more sophisticated. So that's my 2 cents.
And what I want to add, as in the personal branding is a massive one. Like really focus on personal branding. It's about you. I like to know like you as a person. I don't really care about like even the AIM program. It isn't really that important. It's about do you relate to the person that I am, to the stuff that I'm saying, and use the AI to crystallize your own thoughts, as in what do you actually want to say? Same as the description at the beginning. I of course like used AI to create that, but I first added all of the data and all of my knowledge to like, yeah, this is actually what I wanted to say in a way that that the package is available for others. And that's a powerful one because like I'm also in like I respect other people's time, and when they need to read sentences and you're like, what exactly do you mean? Then it's kind of annoying, and then you're creating that disconnect. And then really focusing on how can you create that communication line as best.
Right, cool, awesome. So we've come to a close. So everybody give Tim a little virtual or actual round of applause. Thank you so much. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you so much.